Hello Paper Florists. So today we are going to make the centers for these beautiful zinnias. And I know you're going to have fun doing it. I've done it two ways, one with the florets in it and one without. So I'm going to show you today how we put all of this together, and I can't wait to see yours. Hello my friends. So today we are going to make the stamen for our beautiful zinnias, and I'm going to show you two versions of that center. So this is one that has the florets on it, and here is one that doesn't have the florets on it. So I thought I would show you both of them. I also did this one. I thought I would show them to you so that you would know that you have choices, and if you feel intimidated, I guess, by these florets, then you can go ahead and make one without the florets. So this one has some raspberry and some brown crepe in it. This one is all raspberry with some yellow centers, and same thing here. So these two are the same. This one's a little different. So let's get started. Okay, so welcome back. The first one we're going to do the center. We're going to work on the center first. The center, this one does not have the little florets in it, so I'm going to show you how to do that. We are going to start with an 18 gauge paper covered wire. You can use whatever kind of thickish wire you have that you like. And I'm just going to cut this down because it's easier to work on. And I have some 1.5 centimeter spun cotton balls here, and I'm gonna attach these with my hot glue gun. So I'm gonna let my glue gun heat up, and while I'm waiting for that, I'll go ahead and show you how to the pieces that you're gonna need for the center. So I have 2 pieces of heavy crepe here, 180, and I'm gonna cut a couple of these in 1.5 inch swaths, and even if we don't use all of them for this one, if you do the second one as well, you'll have enough. I'm going to do the same thing here. Actually, I'm going to cut this more at 1 inch, 1 1/4, let's say. It to be a little smaller. There we go. And another one. About here. And this doesn't have to be exact. So we're going to set those aside. I'm also going to take a piece of this before I do anything with it and just cut off just a small piece like that. And we're going to use this to cover that ball. Okay, so just set that aside. Again, we're waiting for the hot glue to heat up. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to give them a good stretch. And I'm going to take a brown one and do the same thing. Give it a good stretch. And this brown stretches more. Okay, so we are going to laminate these two together. And I think the easiest way to do that is with a glue stick. This is I think this is that's just as permanent. I have some that says extreme too, but this will work fine. So I'm just going to move everything out of the way. And I'm going to come up almost to the top of this, and I'm going to apply glue, and I'm going to do it. I'm not going to go all the way to this leading edge, but I'm pretty darn close. Okay, I'm going to take this brown, and I'm going to turn around so that that leading edge is on the top. And pardon my hair if I get into the picture here. And I'm just going to laminate this so it's just ever so slightly below this pink. You want it to barely stick out. And all this brown, I mean, you could not do this part if you like. 2 things we're accomplishing by doing this. One of them is making our paper thicker. And the other one is that we're creating a buildup of the center here. Okay, so we're going to set that one aside and we're going to do one more. And these are like 5 or 6 inches cut across the grain. And we'll set that aside. And we'll do the same thing here. I'm going to go almost, I mean, some of them I probably do get all the way up to the top here. That's okay. I know we don't use a glue stick a lot, but you know, I'm finding more and more uses for it, besides sticking to my fingers. I use it to laminate crepe. I find it laminates doublet really well. So when I'm doing a big flower with a real velvety finish, like a magnolia or even a calla lily, that works really well. Okay, so I don't want that sticking to itself. So it's sticking to my fingers. So this is where I don't have glue all the way up. So I'm just going to come up here and do the same thing I did before. And it doesn't have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. This is supposed to be fun, right? Not stressful. This is my zen. I find this just really peaceful. Now I do get frustrated too, just like everyone. You know, something doesn't come together the way I want. I want to act like a 3-year-old, throw myself on the floor and have a temper tantrum, but my husband would probably call the authorities if I did. So I've got these 2 pieces, okay? So we are going to fringe these, and I'm going to cut these down just to make it easier to fringe. So I'm going to cut each one of these pieces I just did in half. Okay, so I'm going to take one of these pieces and I'm going to cut it in half. And I'll tell you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to fringe this. And it doesn't have to be, I'm going to make sure I got the right edge here. And it doesn't have to be, you don't want it to be really, really fine, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is just cut, this is probably about 1/2 inch, and I'm going to cut wide pieces of fringe here, probably 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and then we're going to come back in and we're going to take each one of those pieces that we've cut and we're going to give them a little point. You see that? Just hold it. This is probably the hardest part of this whole bloom, is doing that. And you can come back in and clean it up after you do it, because you want to be able to see these. There you go. You just want these to have a little point on them. Okay, let's open it up and see what we've got. We've got a couple of pieces here that didn't want to say bye-bye. There we go, got rid of that. And like I said, it doesn't have to be exact, doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be pretty. This just creates the effect we're looking for. There, there's one. Maybe this one. And I gotta make sure I got doing the right edge here. So this piece where you have just that little bit of pink showing is where you want to, the side you want to do your fringing. So I'm going to do just a little 1/2 inch cut here. I'm going to make my bigger cuts. Okay, we're going to come back in. See, it might actually be easier to see if I did it on one level here. Okay, so we just want to cut each one of those. Put a little point on them. It's really hard to see. There we go. Like I said, this a flower as simple as a zinnia, which when you look at nature, you think, oh, that's not much. But man, Mother Nature sure knows how to make things difficult, doesn't she? So that's what we're trying to do, is just copy her. Like I said, it doesn't have to be exact. Just do the best you can. A couple more here. Okay, so I will go ahead and finish these other pieces, and you do the same. Probably take a little while to do it. This is going to be the long. Making the center is the hardest part of this blossom. There. Okay, so I'll go ahead and do that. You do yours, and we'll come back together when we've got them all cut. Okay, we're back, and my hot glue gun has gotten heated up. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and just create a dab of it right there, and put it in the cotton ball, and just hold it. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is take this little piece that we cut off earlier, and we're going to attach that to cover up that center of that ball. Still wet. Okay, just going to bring it down. And again, this doesn't have to be done pretty or fancy or anything. Just want to get it to cover the top of the ball. Okay. And then one of the things we're going to do is we're going to grab one of these strips that we cut earlier, and I'm just going to take a little piece, like 1/4 of an inch maybe. And I'm going to add some glue to it. I know this isn't going to make sense, but we're going to kind of make the shape of that. Change the shape, if you will, so it's not so round. We're just going to take this piece and we're going to wrap it around the center, like that. So that what we're doing is creating it so it's more flat on the top. And then we'll go ahead and just bring this down to help secure it to the stem. Okay, so we've got that. Flatten it out a little bit. There. So you've got that. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to take our first one of these and we are going to scissor curl the ends of these. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to take it and just take our scissors and just curl it in like that. Okay, ever so gently. Want it to curl up. Now this lamination process does two things. Creates some extra bulk for us, and it also adds just a touch of dimension. Okay, so I'm going to just come in here. I'm going to go right up, close to the edge of those little fringes. And we'll come down and just add some more. Okay, so we're just going to take it, and we want it to kind of come up and cover up the center. I'm going to press those down there, and as we go, they will pull away on their own. Just work it in there so it comes together like that. Now, just to keep that a little more secure, I'm going to add a little piece of floral tape in between these, just to tighten that on there. Okay. Okay, and we just want to press this down so that that kind of all comes together in the center. Can you see that? Like that. And see, you can see that brown in there. So the next one we're going to do the same thing. And I don't need to worry about getting on the fringe. And see how they kind of pulled apart? That's perfect. That's going to give us that definition, the dimension of the colors that we want. Because nothing in nature is really a solid color. Even white isn't. You'll see it's got yellow undertones, green undertones. So we're going to do the same thing with this, only we're going to allow it to kind of open up on its own. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to secure it with a little floral tape. I know this is kind of counterintuitive, but it works well for me to do it this way. And it just makes everything a little more compact, if you will. And we'll do probably one more. We may not use all of them, but we'll see. Okay, same thing here. Add some glue. See, I didn't get my tape to stick, but that's okay. Okay, so this, we're going to bring this one in, and we're going to let this lay open. So we're just going to make it taut around the bottom of okay. You can see it when you press it in like this, it kind of pulls them apart, gives you some nice dimension on there. And we'll do this one. And I just want to secure that. Now you can see there's a couple of pieces that kind of stick up. And, you know, Mother Nature does that, but I'm just going to trim these down just a little. So you can see from the top. And this last one, we're going to let it just lay open. We're going to just give it a gentle scissor curl. Give it a little glue. And this one's going to go just around the edges like that. And keep it all right at the same. You can see it's starting to open up. Still bugged by those little guys. Let's just trim them out. There. Okay. And this last row of tape, and I'm going to go ahead and put tape on the entire stem. I'm going to start here, pull the tape to activate the glue. And I don't use floral tape a lot, but I do like using it for things like this. It just makes everything so neat and compact. Okay, so there. I went halfway down the stem. So there you have it. That's our simple, without florets, center that's going to be like this one. So we can just pull that out and make it a little bit bigger. There, give it a little ruffle. So there you have it. There's that one. And when I come back, we will do the next one. Okay, so we are ready to make the stamen or the center for this flower. You can see the little florets that are interspersed in there. And I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. I'm going to show you my favorite way and then my not so favorite way. So I have a couple of strips of the raspberry 180 that I used for the centers. And this piece is about 6 inches long, and I'm going to give it a nice big stretch. Okay. I also have an 18 gauge cloth covered wire with a 1.5, actually this is a 2 centimeter ball on it. And so we're going to basically be building the center, and then we're going to add the florets on the outside. There's kind of a process here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create these pieces for the stamens. And I'm just going to take my handy dandy favorite pair of scissors, and we're going to create the center by doing this. We're going to take a slit down about 1/2 inch here. So you go about halfway down these pieces. Okay, and then this is going to be probably the most difficult part of the whole process is fringing this. And we're going to fringe this in a different way than we normally do. We're not going to do a straight fringe. We're going to do a fringe so that we've got these on top. See, so there we go. And I'll come back and tear out the piece. There we go. There. And then we're just going to do this as close to each other as we can. I made the first part a little wide, and I should make it a little thinner. Can you see that okay? And just keep on going. There we go. There. We're going to open this up and just take a look at it and see where our cuts are not where we want them to be. This is your opportunity to fix that. And they don't have to be They don't have to be perfect. Okay. So we're just going to go all the way through, and we're going to take it. There'll be a couple of pieces that you miss. I always find that to be the case. So I'm just going to come in and pull those out. And if I have some that aren't really as pointy as I would like them, this is the place to do that too. There we go. This could be good. Okay, so we're going to do this a few more times, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start wrapping our wire. Okay, so we're back. So I did all 4 of these, and I'm going to set 3 of them aside for now, and we're just going to focus on this first one. And what I like to do is I like to use a glue stick for this one. And I want to get that glue all the way out to the tips of these little points. And you're going to, I promise you, you will have glue everywhere by the time this is done. There. Okay. And because I wasn't able to get the glue all the way down, I'm just going to take a little dot of glue right along this bottom edge. So we are going to take this one, and we're going to just start wrapping this. And we want these points to meet up in the center of the ball. So we'll come up here like this, and we'll just start pressing them down. This is why you wanted to have the glue all the way to the edge of the tips of these. I'm just going to come in, and I'm just going to make them all meet up. This is going to take a little bit of patience. You can see how they're starting to form that center where they all come together. I apologize if my voice is hoarse. I have been fighting, I don't know, it's either a head cold or sinus infection. Had it for a couple weeks now. Seems like. Just come in and keep pushing those down so that they meet up in the center. Just bring it right to the center. And if you have a couple that don't want to stay down, just give them a little more glue. There we go. That's my fault. I want these to stay down. There we go. This is matching up the right way. And if you feel like it's not right, just back off a little bit. Come back in. And I have glue on my hands here, so it's kind of fighting me a little. Just want these to all come together at the top. Okay, so I've got it on there. So I'm just going to chop these down. And we are not going to worry about the bulk that we have on the bottom just yet. You can see how these all kind of come to a nice little point at the top. Okay, so we're just going to set that aside and let it dry. Excuse me, the reason for that is if I start pulling this down, tightening up now, it's going to pull. So I want it to get good and dry in there. So we can move on to the next part of what we're doing. And I have a piece of this yellow doublet. And it doesn't matter how long the piece is, quite frankly. So we're just going to take it, and I'm going to just cut this probably at about 1.5 inches. Okay, then we're going to take another piece about 1 inch. So you want one piece at 1 inch and one piece at 1.5 inches. Running along here like that. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is think about those little florets. And do you want them to be really bright? So you can see in this one, it's just a center that I made, that this is all the bright yellow doublet that you see. So I'm going to fold this piece in half so that the bright yellow is what I see when I'm not going to need anywhere near this whole piece, but it'll be enough for a couple flowers, I'm sure. Okay, so, excuse me. So we're going to take this piece, we're going to kind of stretch it out as well. And it doesn't really matter which side is facing up or down on this. And then I'm going to come back in here again with my glue stick, and I'm going to add glue down one side. I find doing it one side at a time works better. There we go. And then down the other side. Just so that's all going to stick together. It's kind of sticky mess. So we're just going to take this piece and we're going to fold it right, put it right in here close to the fold, as close as you can get to the fold, without going over it like I just did. There we go. There we are. Just keep your eye on where that fold is. Okay. And go right along the fold, okay? Then bring this piece down. This is why you folded it. You're gonna bring it down and sandwich it down like this. I tried these little florets a couple of different ways, and we've used this technique a lot for doing maybe stamen on other blooms. That I think this works pretty well. Okay, so now the hard part. First thing I'm going to do is straighten that up, okay? Make sure this is good and sandwiched together. And we're going to cut those little florets. And each floret, just like a star, each of these little florets is going to have a star pattern on them. So I'm going to show you how to create that star. So we're going to cut, I'm going to cut this piece off because it's not good. Okay, we're going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, and then cut it, and then 5. Cut it off. Okay, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these, you want these to be about 1/16 of an inch And we're going to need probably 10 to 12 on each flower, each bloom. 4 and then 5. So we have a 5 pointed star. And you want to be as even as you can, but don't be really hard on yourself if you find this difficult. I just can't where I was. I can't talk and chew gum, or yeah, talk and cut at the same time, or walk and chew gum. Some of them are a little bigger than others, and that's okay. See how many we have? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm going to cut 2 more. And you can do as many of these as you want or none. This one's pretty wide too. Okay, that's going to be enough. Okay, so now we're going to grab these. And we're going to make sure that that glues on there really well. And we're going to add points to these. This one's really big. 1, 2, 3. I make this one a little narrower. There we go. So can you see that? I can see that this doesn't want to stay glued. So we can fix that. There. Everything's fixable. Okay, so now we're going to just put little points on these. So we're just going to, and this one just does not want to stay. It's not happy. There. 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 Okay. And that, you know, that it's going to happen. We are far from perfect. There. Okay. So we've got 5 little points here. I have to kind of clean it up a little. There we go. Okay, let's do another one. And this one is much happier staying together. So we're just going to cut little tips off of here. Didn't quite get that one. There we go. Okay, so see, we've got 5 little points there. And I'll do one more for you. And then we're going to do that and come back to it. I should have my glasses on for this. And you could use your fine point scissors for this. I just find these work really well for me. It's my thumb in your way. But you can do this. You know what I'm talking about here. And I'm going to cut this one down just a little. There. And then get that. Okay. Okay, so let's keep going on this and we'll come back and then we'll make our little stars. Okay, so we're back. So I have all these little piles here. And what we're going to do is we're going to finger curl these. I tried doing these with wires, but I just wasn't that successful with them. So I thought that the finger curl works better. So I just want to make sure that my fingers are tacky. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to take, and don't be careful not to pick this up here, but you just want to bend these out ever so gently. Okay. And you see I started to pull it apart already. Okay. So make sure your fingers are tacky, and then just take this and roll this up in your fingers like that. Now we're going to come in and we're going to shape these. Make sure they all point in the direction you want them to. There we go. Not perfect, but passable. Just come in and work it around just a little bit in your fingers. There we go. And then I take and just put a drop of glue here where the seam is. Just roll it again in your hands. Do a couple more. Same thing here. We're going to curl this down. Be careful not to pick it up because you can. Is to just press it out. Make sure you have techie fingers. And just start rolling. There we go. There, see? Oh, and then I want to add a touch of glue here. There we go. You have your little stars. Another one. So we're going to need, like I said, 10 to 12. Depends. You know what? You can add or as many or as few of these as you desire. These little stars happen at a certain stage in the development of the flower. So they don't all happen overnight. I don't think. I think they just start opening up. There we go. Okay, so you can just keep going and until you got 8 or 10 of them, and we will come back and start putting this baby together. Get this center done. Okay, so I have all my little florets here, and we have our center that we put together. So we want to get a little bit of this bulk out of here. So we're going to just come in with our scissors and make some gores in there. And it'll really alleviate a lot of the problems that we're going to have with a really thick stem. Even if you just come in and put slits in there, it's going to work. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to kind of bring this together, keep the top like it is as much as possible, and then we're just going to come in and twist that on there. Okay, perfect. So one of the things I like to do at this stage is get a little insurance going, and you can use floral tape for this, or you can, which is what I'm going to use, or you can use, you can make strips out of your crepe paper, but this works just fine for this. And I just want to get that on there tight, kind of compressing. There we go, compressing this a little. And then wrapping it, the rest of it down the stem. The heat from your fingers will really help that. Okay, so set that aside. So there we have it. So we're going to let these florets sit here for a minute, and we're going to come back to our other 3 pieces of fringe that we did. And we're going to finish this baby off. And we're going to do the same thing we did with the first one. We're going to curl our petals down. Okay, and also to eliminate a little bit of bulk, I'm just going to, let's see which way I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm just going to take a little bit off of here and then give it some slits too, just so it sits flatter. It'll make it sit easier. Okay, flip it over. You can use your glue stick, you can use tacky glue. You want to get glue up into the base of these, but not all the way. You know what? I'm going to use my tacky glue for this. Let's use the big one. So it'll work just fine. And the first thing I'm going to put a little dots of glue all along the bottom of these to start. It just kind of nails them down a little bit. There we go. And now we want to get another good, some more filling in. I just like dots. It really works for me to just dot it. Because we want to make sure we don't get too much glue on here. We want enough to get it to stick, but we don't want so much that it becomes a gloppy mess. Okay, so we're going to start wrapping these pieces around here. And we're going to start just wrapping. Can you see that? Just coming around. And just wrap it around. And it will kind of want to creep up on you, but persevere. There we go. Now we're going to just... And see, the fact that we had some glue on the bottom of those makes them come up and hold right around there. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to add another strip. I'm going to do it between each one. It just really helps this all stay together. Just going to come in and just keeps everything neat, nice and neat. Toward that, but that's okay. There we go. Okay. We're going to do the next one. We're going to do the same thing. I want to cut a little bit of the bulk out of here first. So I'm just going to cut some slits in here. And we'll take a little bit of the bulk out of here like this. Do it at the other end, just for fun. Okay, just to kind of thin it up a little bit. Oh, okay, that's fine too. I always, no reason to like make yourself crazy over this. It's fine. Obviously, I pulled it just a little too tight, but that's okay. There's no, there's no mistakes. There's just happy accidents. That's what I always say. We'll go ahead and keep going with this one. Oh, you know what we didn't do? We haven't scissor curled. So shame on me. Do as I do. Just do as I say, not as I do. I am going to come in and curl these. So I'll just turn it over and just curl it a little more. There we go. Let's start with this first piece. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. So this is showing you that it's opening up. Okay. Take the other piece. Do the same thing. Pick up where you left off, which is right about there. I scissor curled these in the wrong direction. Happens. There we go. That's what's so great about crepe papers. It's just so forgiving that way. Okay. Now, if you wanted to, I'm going to show you how to do the other center with it's a single center, but you could technically just call this one done, right? And I'm going to give it my insurance one more time. I'm going to wrap it again. If I can find the beginning of my floral tape. There we go. And the only reason I do this is it just keeps everything compressed nicely and smooth. And then one thing I'm also going to do is I have that little strip of, I'm doing this for compression, but these don't like sticking to that tacky, to the floral tape. So I'm just going to grab a little piece of crepe, a few inches long, and give it a good amount of glue because we want it to stick to that floral tape. Paper doesn't really like floral tape, but we'll try. Okay, so I'm just going to take it that way. There we go. Is that? Okay. So like I said, you can put as many or as few of these florets as you want to on yours. So and the way I do this is it's kind of methodical. As I will just start with it with some glue, a stream of glue like this here. And I'm going to take my star and I'm going to put it right where I want it to be. Okay, then I'm going to come to the other side. Take another one. I'm going to put it right here. Here, I don't. Yeah, that's about right. I want to make sure that I get them even across from each other. And then I'm going to put one here. Put one here. And one here. This one can go. This is why I like using tacky glue as opposed to hot glue on these, is that you can still move them around. And I got one here. Okay. Maybe. There we go. And because I've got all this glue on my fingers, these are going to want to stick to my fingers probably more than they want to stick to the paper. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. Give it a nice bead of glue there. And one here. Take two of them. Now, just kind of just reach for the prettiest ones. One here. See, I think this one needs to go up a little. There we go. And that's pretty big here. See, because I got glue on my hands, it doesn't want to stick. Oh, well. One more here. So you can put 2, 3, 1, any number that you desire. Or you can fill these in, all these little holes. So we put one here and one here next. see that one goes right here. Right, low on glue. I have a few more, so I think I put in at least 12 in here. I think. Let's see, one here. Let's kind of roll this one a little this way. There we go. Move it over. We'll put the last one right in here. There we go. Perfect. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Okay, so we have one more step in this center, as if there weren't enough steps in it already, right? So I'll set these aside. I'll use them for my next one. I got another one right here. And I'm just going to set that down. And we're going to take our last strip. So remember, we've got 3 in there already. This is number 4. Scissor curl it. Turn it over. And I'm not too worried about the getting rid of the bulk on this one, because it's just basically going to wrap around. You may not even put all of this on. It's entirely up to you. So once again, I'm trying to squeeze this, and it doesn't want to squeeze. Note to self, when doing tutorials, have the proper glue on hand. We're going to do it again right up along the base of those little fringes. And I also want to make sure that I get enough glue on here so that it holds itself together. You sure don't want your flower falling apart, do you? Okay, yeah, I apologize for my stuck up head. If I'm breathing heavy, it's because I'm hardly breathing. Okay, so we're just going to come in with this one, and we're going to bring this in low around those. Just right below them. Sorry, I keep pulling it out of the camera, don't I? And you want to resist the urge of creeping up on that. You want to really keep this low. And I think this is a pretty complicated center, but it's not hard. It's just you have to kind of think it through. All right, so there we are. There is our fancy center for our zinnia. So when we place our petals down, and I just have some loose petals here, when we place them down, the zinnia itself, the petals come down off of this. So you will see that. You put it as high as you want, but you're going to see this part. So that's why I want to make sure it's all covered up. So there you have it. We've got one down. And I look forward to seeing your zinnias as well. So thanks so much for joining me. All right, so wasn't that fun? We did centers 2 ways. And when we come back tomorrow, we're going to put some petals on these. So thanks so much for joining me. By the way, if you enjoy our tutorials, don't forget to like and subscribe in the box below so that you know what we're up to all the time. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.